Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather to reflect on something crucial to our personal growth and fulfillment, our relationships. Not all connections are created equal, and not everyone who enters our lives has pure intentions. The reality is, there are individuals who will try to take from you, manipulate you, or simply wear a mask to fit in with your life. They are what we commonly refer to as fake people. But here's the truth. You don't have to fall prey to their games. If you understand the signs and keep your eyes open, you can easily discern the true from the false. Let's talk about how to identify these fake individuals and protect your peace. First, it starts with you. You must know who you are. If you are unsure of your own values and purpose, you're at risk of being swayed by anyone who comes along. Fake people love to prey on those who lack self-awareness because you are more susceptible to their charm, their lies, and their false promises. So invest in yourself first. Know your worth. When you have a clear sense of who you are, you can spot inauthenticity from a mile away. Next, observe consistency. Real people are predictable, not in a rigid sense, but in that their words and actions align. Fake people, they change with the wind. They say one thing but do another. They may flatter you in one moment and turn their back on you in the next. When you see inconsistency, you're seeing someone who's wearing a mask. Real people wear no masks. Pay close attention to their actions, not just their words. A person can talk all they want, but it's what they do that truly matters. Are they kind? Not just when it's convenient, but all the time? Do they show up for you, even when it's not easy? If there's a gap between what they say and what they do, that's your first sign of a fake individual. Fake people often have an agenda. They don't give without expecting something in return. Real relationships are built on genuine connection, shared experiences, and mutual respect. Fake people enter your life looking for something, whether it's status, validation, or an advantage. The moment they no longer need you, they disappear. Watch out for emotional manipulation. Fake people are experts at pulling your emotional strings. They might make you feel guilty, inflate your ego, or create unnecessary drama. But real people, people who care, want you to be your best self without playing on your emotions. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with someone. Do you feel drained or energized? Emotional manipulation is a key sign of inauthenticity. Another trick fake people use is the mirror effect. Have you ever met someone who suddenly starts mimicking your interests, your opinions, or even your style? Be cautious. Genuine people have their own identity, their own views. Fake people, however, will adopt yours because they lack the confidence to stand in their own truth. Fake people will never take accountability. When things go wrong, they shift the blame. They deflect, they make excuses, and they will always find someone else to blame. Real people own up to their mistakes. They apologize, learn, and grow. Fake people, however, run from responsibility and accountability. Superficiality is another telltale sign. Fake individuals are obsessed with appearance, how they look, what they own, or the circles they move in. They thrive on validation from others. But real people focus on substance, depth, and authenticity. A deep connection with someone is built on shared experiences, trust, and love. Not on how many followers they have or how fancy their clothes are. Now, let's talk about energy. Have you ever felt drained after spending time with someone, even though they didn't do anything explicitly wrong? Fake people drain your energy because they take from you without giving anything meaningful in return. Real people, on the other hand, uplift you. Even in tough times, they leave you feeling better, stronger, and more capable. Real relationships are tested in times of adversity. Anyone can be your friend when life is easy. But when you face challenges, that's when the truth comes out. Fake people will vanish when you need them most, or they will show their true colors by putting their own interests first. But real friends, real loved ones, stand by you when you're facing the storm. They don't walk away. They walk with you. My friends, identifying fake people in your life isn't about being paranoid or cynical. It's about being discerning. It's about learning to trust yourself and your intuition. When you know who you are and what you stand for, it becomes easy to spot the pretenders. Surround yourself with people who add value to your life, people who encourage you to grow, who challenge you to be your best, and who love you for who you truly are. The more you protect your inner circle, the more you create space for authentic, life-giving relationships. Remember, authenticity is the key to true fulfillment. So stay true to yourself and never settle for anything less than what you deserve. Self-awareness is the foundation upon which all of your relationships, whether personal or professional, are built. It's the process of understanding who you truly are, your core beliefs, your values, your strengths, and your weaknesses. In a world filled with noise, distractions, and constant external influence, the ability to tune into your inner self is one of the most powerful tools you can possess. Without it, you are at risk of being swept along by the currents of other people's agendas, their opinions, and their desires. When you lack self-awareness, it becomes difficult to distinguish between authentic connections and those that are merely opportunistic or superficial. Fake people often thrive in environments where others are unclear about their own identity. They prey on this lack of clarity, blending in with whoever seems most influential or beneficial at the time. But when you are secure in who you are, when you know your worth, your boundaries, and what you stand for, you become a mirror that reflects the true nature of those around you. Self-awareness also means knowing your emotional triggers and understanding how you react to different situations. It means recognizing when you are being manipulated or coerced, when someone is attempting to take advantage of your vulnerabilities. It's not just about knowing what you want, but understanding why you want it and being clear on whether those desires align with your true values or are the result of external pressure. In the absence of self-awareness, we are easily swayed by flattery, praise, or the approval of others without questioning whether it is genuine or earned. Self-awareness helps you build emotional intelligence, which is vital in spotting fake people. Emotional intelligence is the ability to read and respond to the emotions of others while also managing your own emotions effectively. Fake people often create emotional chaos around them, using manipulation or drama to pull others into their world. But when you are self-aware, you are able to recognize these emotional tactics and see them for what they truly are. When you are grounded in self-awareness, you stop allowing others to define your sense of worth. Fake people often try to feed off your insecurities, using them to control your behavior, make you feel inferior, or distract you from your own sense of purpose. But with self-awareness, you become immune to these tactics. You no longer need their validation. And as a result, you can see them clearly for the false personas they are. In the context of relationships, whether friendships, romantic or professional, self-awareness enables you to set healthy boundaries. Fake people often test or push boundaries, seeking to manipulate or control others. But when you understand your own limits, what you are willing to tolerate and what you are not, you prevent these individuals from taking advantage of you. Your confidence in your values and boundaries becomes a shield against their negative influence. In short, the journey to self-awareness is a lifelong process, but it is one of the most valuable investments you can make in yourself. The more you understand your own thoughts, emotions, and desires, the better equipped you are to navigate the complex relationships in your life. When you are clear on who you are, it becomes much easier to identify fake people who are not living in alignment with their true selves. You will recognize when someone is trying to manipulate or deceive you because you are no longer willing to compromise your own sense of truth. Self-awareness is not only the key to understanding others, but also the key to protecting your own peace and preserving your authenticity in a world filled with illusions. Consistency is one of the most powerful indicators of authenticity in any person. It's the bedrock upon which trust is built. Think about it. You don't trust someone who says one thing and does another. You don't build lasting relationships with people whose actions are unpredictable or erratic. Authenticity in a person is reflected in their ability to remain consistent in their character, values, and behavior day in and day out. This is true not only in what they say, but also in how they act when no one is watching, and in how they treat others when the stakes are low, as well as when the pressure is high. Consistent people are grounded in their beliefs and their values. They do not change their character based on the people they are with or the circumstances they find themselves in. A genuine person behaves with integrity regardless of whether the situation is advantageous or challenging. They are the same person in public as they are in private. They are not one way in front of the boss and another when they're hanging out with friends. Consistency shows that what you see is what you get. It creates a sense of reliability, of predictability. You know where they stand, and you can count on them to stand there no matter the winds of change. In contrast, fake people are often characterized by inconsistency. They are like chameleons, constantly shifting their behavior to match whatever they think will bring them the most benefit in the moment. They may tell you what you want to hear, but their actions betray their words. One day they are your best friend, the next they're distant or cold. One moment they praise you, and the next they gossip about you behind your back. Inconsistent people are difficult to trust because you can't rely on them to be the same from one day to the next. This lack of consistency in behavior is often a sign of someone who is not authentic, but is instead trying to manipulate or control the situation. Consistency is not just about being reliable in the big things, it's also about showing up in the little things. It's about being dependable in your commitments, your actions, and your word. Small, everyday gestures like showing up on time, following through on promises, and treating people with kindness and respect consistently speak volumes about a person's character. These may seem like minor actions, but they reveal an underlying stability and integrity that fake people simply cannot replicate. Fake individuals are often more focused on grand gestures, putting on a show to seem impressive in the moment, but their true nature is revealed when the routine or mundane tasks come into play. The person who shows up day after day, committed to living according to their values, is the person who is truly genuine. What makes consistency even more powerful is its connection to transparency. When someone is consistent, you don't have to guess what they're thinking or feeling. Their behavior aligns with their words and their intentions are clear. You don't have to worry about hidden motives or second guess their actions. What you see is what you get. Fake people, on the other hand, often leave you questioning their motives, wondering if their kindness is genuine or if there's an ulterior agenda. They're not transparent in their actions because they're wearing masks, trying to portray an image that serves their interests rather than being truthful. Being consistent also speaks to a deeper sense of personal integrity. A consistent person does not compromise their values to fit in or get ahead. They know who they are, and they are not willing to bend their character just to please others or gain something in return. This is why fake people often lack consistency. They are more willing to change their behavior and values depending on who they're trying to impress or what they're trying to achieve. This lack of conviction makes them unreliable because they're more concerned with pleasing people than being true to themselves. In relationships, consistency builds trust. Trust is not something that is built overnight. It is the product of repeated, consistent actions over time. If someone promises you the world but doesn't follow through, their words lose weight. But when someone shows up consistently, when they meet their commitments, and when their actions match their words, they earn your trust little by little. It's the accumulation of these small, consistent actions that establishes a strong foundation of trust and respect. Fake people, by contrast, tend to show up inconsistently, which creates doubt. They might act in a way that seems genuine for a while, but over time their true intentions become clear. They may start withdrawing when things get tough or disappear when you need them the most. They may only show up when they need something from you or when it benefits them to do so. Their inconsistency leaves you feeling unsure of where you stand, and this confusion is a classic sign of inauthenticity. The power of consistency in identifying fake people lies in the fact that ultimately authenticity cannot be faked. You can only pretend to be consistent for so long before the truth comes to light. A fake person might wear a mask for a time, but their true colors will eventually show when they are confronted with difficult situations or when they can no longer maintain the charade. Authentic people, on the other hand, are steady, predictable, and unwavering. They don't need to try to be someone they're not because they have nothing to hide. Consistency is a powerful indicator of a person's authenticity. When you are consistent, you don't need to prove yourself. Your actions speak for you. You build trust, create genuine connections, and establish your own integrity. In contrast, the fake person will always have to work harder to maintain their image because inconsistency is their true nature. Consistency is the mark of a person who lives from a place of truth, a person whose word is their bond, and whose actions match their intentions. Actions speak louder than words is not just an old saying, it's a universal truth that has stood the test of time. It cuts through the noise of empty promises, hollow compliments, and false assurances, revealing the true essence of a person's character. While words have power, they are only meaningful when they are backed by action. Words without action are like a car with no engine. They might look good, but they can't take you anywhere. And when it comes to identifying authenticity in others, paying attention to actions rather than relying solely on words is essential. Words are easy. We can all say things that sound good, things that others want to hear. It's easy to promise someone the world, to speak about loyalty, love, support, and care. In fact, fake people often use words as tools to manipulate, to create a false sense of connection, or to gain favor. They may tell you how much they value you, how much they care, and how they will always be there for you. But when you look at what they actually do, when you examine their behavior, it often doesn't align with what they've said. They may talk a good game, but their actions tell a very different story. This is why actions are the true measure of someone's authenticity. Real people don't just talk about being there for you, they show up. They don't just promise to help, they actually help. They don't just say they care, they demonstrate it in their behavior. They don't just speak about integrity, they live it every day, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's costly. When you are connected to someone who is truly authentic, you don't need to rely on their words alone, because their actions provide the proof. Actions reveal intention. While words can be manipulated, crafted, and delivered in a way that manipulates perception, actions are harder to fake. A person's actions often reveal their true priorities. Someone can say they care about you, but if they constantly put their own needs ahead of yours, if they disregard your feelings, or if they never take the time to check in on you, those actions contradict their words. Genuine affection or concern is not demonstrated through promises alone, but through consistent behavior that reflects care, respect, and consideration for your well-being. A person's true intentions will always be visible in their actions, no matter what they say. Think about the times you've been disappointed by someone. Perhaps they promised to help you with a project or said they'd be there for you during a tough time, but when the moment came, they were nowhere to be found. In those situations, their words, however heartfelt or convincing they may have seemed, were exposed as empty. Their actions didn't align with their promises, and that inconsistency revealed a lack of authenticity. The absence of action speaks louder than any words could. In relationships, whether personal, professional, or romantic, actions provide the evidence of commitment. Words are not enough to establish a relationship of trust or respect. Trust is built over time through repeated, reliable actions. When someone is consistent in their actions, it demonstrates that they are dependable. It shows that they are not just saying the right things to win favor or make you feel good. They are demonstrating with their behavior that they truly mean what they say. If someone says they are loyal to you but continually betrays your trust or fails to follow through on promises, the gap between their words and their actions becomes clear. And that gap is where the authenticity of their character is revealed. Actions also demonstrate the depth of a person's character. Words are often superficial. Anyone can use the right language in the moment to say something flattering or to make themselves appear noble. But actions, especially when they are done without expectation of reward or recognition, show who a person really is. A genuine person doesn't need to tell you they are generous. They show you through their behavior. They don't need to announce that they are thoughtful or considerate. They demonstrate it through their actions, whether it's helping without being asked or showing empathy in difficult moments. Authentic people let their actions speak for them, and their actions reveal the depth of their character. Consider this: people often say actions speak louder than words because actions provide evidence. Words can be forgotten, misinterpreted, or even deliberately manipulated. But actions have a lasting impact. You can look back on a person's history and see the pattern of their actions over time. These actions, whether big or small, accumulate to tell the story of who they are. A person may say they are there for you, but if their actions repeatedly demonstrate that they prioritize other people or things over your needs, you can see that their words were just a performance. On the other hand, a person who shows up for you consistently, even when it's inconvenient, shows through their actions that their words are grounded in truth. Fake people, in particular, rely on words because they can easily shape and manipulate them. They know how to say the right things at the right time to get what they want or to put you at ease. They may be smooth talkers, using flattery and charm to build trust, but their actions fail to back up their claims. They may tell you how much they care, but when it counts, when you need them most, they are nowhere to be found. Or they may promise loyalty, yet act in ways that demonstrate disloyalty or disregard for your feelings. On the other hand, real people, people who are authentic and true to their word, understand that actions hold weight. They may not always be eloquent with their words, but they show up day after day through their actions. Their words are backed by a deep commitment to follow through, and this builds trust over time. When someone's actions consistently align with their words, it reinforces their integrity, solidifying the bond of trust between you. In essence, if you want to know who someone really is, watch what they do, not just what they say. Actions reveal a person's true priorities, values, and intentions. They show whether someone is genuinely committed, compassionate, and loyal, or whether they are just using words to create an illusion of those qualities. In the end, actions are the truest reflection of a person's character, because what they do will always speak louder than what they say. Intentions and agendas are often at the heart of human interaction, but there's a significant difference between the two that can deeply affect the quality of the relationships we build. Intentions are rooted in authenticity. They come from a place of genuine desire to connect, help, or contribute to another person's life. They are driven by the heart and are consistent with a person's values. When someone has positive intentions, their focus is on creating mutual respect, understanding, and shared benefit. They are not looking to manipulate the situation for personal gain. but rather to engage in a relationship based on equality, trust, and honesty. Intentions align with the core of who a person is. They reflect their true character and often involve acts of kindness, support, and selflessness, even when no one is watching. Agendas, on the other hand, are often driven by self-interest. They are plans or objectives that are designed to achieve something for oneself, typically at the expense of others or without concern for the other person's needs or desires. People with agendas may act in ways that appear helpful or supportive, but the underlying motivation is not for the sake of the relationship, it is for what they can extract from it. They may give with the expectation of receiving something in return, whether it be attention, approval, or a tangible benefit. Agendas often mask themselves as goodwill, but they come with a hidden price tag, and this is what sets them apart from genuine intentions. In relationships, people with good intentions seek to offer value without the expectation of reciprocation. They are not calculating or scheming. They do not show up in your life with the underlying life assumption that you owe them something in return. They give because it feels right and because they care. Even when they may not get anything in return immediately, their satisfaction comes from knowing that their actions have made a difference or that they've played a part in building a deeper connection. On the flip side, people with an agenda often present themselves as being generous, caring, or supportive, but their actions are motivated by what they expect to gain. They may be kind to you or seem like a reliable friend, but when you look closely, you realize that their acts of kindness are typically followed by requests or expectations. They might support you when it serves their interests, but the moment they see that there is nothing more to gain from you, their commitment falters. Their actions are less about the relationship itself and more about what they can get from it. Whether it's gaining access to your social circle, obtaining financial or emotional support, or securing a position of power or influence, these individuals will work the relationship to their advantage, always keeping an eye on their personal benefits. The difference between someone who operates from a place of intention and someone with an agenda can be seen in how they behave when the power dynamics in a relationship shift. For example, if you are in a position where you can no longer offer them something, someone with good intentions will still treat you with kindness and respect, because their purpose in the relationship is to be supportive, not to extract value. Someone with an agenda, however, will often pull away or become disengaged once they can no longer benefit from the relationship. They will start to make excuses, lose interest, or disappear when you need them most. Their involvement was conditional on what they could get out of it. People with hidden agendas are often highly skilled at appearing genuine because they understand the power of words and gestures. They know how to flatter, how to listen intently, and how to offer help when it seems convenient. But the moment their needs are not being met, or they no longer see the potential for personal gain, they may quickly turn cold, distant, or begin subtly withdrawing. They might start offering the same level of support or show signs of irritation when you don't meet their expectations. In many cases, these individuals are opportunistic. They will use any vulnerability you share as leverage to fulfill their agenda. The danger in being unaware of someone's agenda is that it can take time to recognize it, and in the process, you may become emotionally invested in the relationship, only to find yourself hurt or disappointed when their true motives surface. Agendas can be well disguised, wrapped in the guise of friendship, affection, or even business collaboration, making it difficult to discern true intentions. This is why it's essential to pay attention to patterns over time, to see how someone behaves consistently in various situations. True intentions will endure even in times of adversity, while agendas tend to unravel when they are no longer benefiting the person pursuing them. It is crucial to be able to differentiate between the two, because living your life surrounded by people who have personal agendas rather than genuine intentions can leave you feeling used, drained, and emotionally manipulated. They may make you feel as though they are there for you, when in reality, their presence in your life is conditional. This is particularly toxic in close relationships where trust and mutual respect are supposed to be the foundation. When someone is acting with an agenda, their actions are transactional, not relational. They give with the intent to receive, and they may even go so far as to manipulate your emotions, leading you to believe that they are investing in the relationship when in fact they are only investing in what they can get out of you. People who operate with good intentions, however, create genuine bonds based on shared values and respect. There is no underlying contract or expectation of return because their joy comes from seeing others succeed and grow. These are the kinds of relationships that help you flourish because they are founded on mutual respect, sincerity, and care. Genuine people will act with your best interest in mind without needing to gain anything in return, and they are happy to see you thrive for the sake of your well-being, not because it advances their agenda. Understanding this difference between intentions and agendas is critical to creating a healthy, supportive environment in both your personal and professional life. The more you learn to recognize when someone is operating from a place of true intention versus when they are working an agenda, the better equipped you will be to surround yourself with people who genuinely care about your well-being and who are invested in the relationship for the right reasons. You'll be able to discern authenticity and protect yourself from the manipulative tactics of those who only seek to serve their own interests. Emotional manipulation is one of the most insidious forms of control, and its impact can be profound, often leaving people feeling confused, drained, or even questioning their own reality. It involves the use of emotions, either the manipulation of others' feelings or the exploitation of their emotional vulnerabilities to influence their behavior, beliefs, and decisions. At its core, emotional manipulation is a tactic used by individuals who seek to control others, often without them realizing it. The manipulator may seem charming, caring, or considerate, but their true goal is to get what they want at the expense of the other person's emotional well-being. Manipulators are often skilled at creating a false sense of intimacy or trust in the relationship. They may use flattery or affection to gain your trust, only to later use those emotions against you. The manipulative person can make you feel special or loved, but once they have you emotionally invested, they begin to exploit your vulnerabilities. They might subtly introduce guilt, shame, or fear into the relationship to get you to do things for them or to make you feel obligated to fulfill their needs. Over time, these tactics wear down a person's emotional defenses, making it more difficult to recognize that they are being manipulated in the first place. One common tactic used by emotional manipulators is guilt tripping. They may make you feel like you are a bad person if you don't comply with their wishes or demands. They may use phrases like, "If you really cared about me, you'd do this for me." Or, "I can't believe you would let me down like this." The goal is to plant a seed of self-doubt and guilt, making you question your own intentions or motivations. Over time, this guilt can become an emotional weapon that forces you into compliance, often without you even realizing it. The manipulator may use your kindness, compassion, or desire to be a good friend, partner, or family member to get you to act in ways that primarily serve their own interests. Another classic form of emotional manipulation is gaslighting. This is a form of psychological manipulation in which the manipulator distorts or denies reality in order to make you question your perception of events. Gaslighting involves repeatedly lying, denying facts, or presenting false information to make you feel like you are overreacting or being irrational. This can leave the victim in a constant state of confusion, second-guessing their thoughts, feelings, and memories. Over time, gaslighting erodes a person's confidence and self-esteem, making them more reliant on the manipulator for validation and clarity. The manipulator uses this confusion to control the narrative and make the victim more vulnerable to further manipulation. Another tactic used by emotional manipulators is playing the victim. They may exaggerate or fabricate their own struggles or hardships to elicit sympathy or attention. They may always portray themselves as the one who is suffering, making you feel responsible for their pain or emotions. They may tell you things like, "I don't know what I would do without you," or "You're the only one who truly understands me." By positioning themselves as the victim, they shift the focus away from their own manipulative behavior and make you feel obligated to cater to their emotional needs. This tactic creates a sense of emotional dependency, where you feel as if you are the only person who can save them or make things better. Manipulators are also adept at using love or affection as a weapon. In a romantic relationship, they may withhold affection, love, or attention as a means of controlling you. They may give you just enough affection to keep you hooked, but when you don't meet their demands, they pull back emotionally, creating feelings of uncertainty, insecurity, and desperation. This form of emotional manipulation is often referred to as love bombing or breadcrumbing, where the manipulator showers you with affection and attention to draw you in, only to later withdraw and create emotional distance. The victim may then begin to chase after the affection or approval they once had, unknowingly giving the manipulator more control over their emotions. Flattery and excessive praise are also commonly used by emotional manipulators, but with an ulterior motive. They may shower you with compliments or admiration to lower your defenses, making you feel good about yourself, only to later use this as leverage. Once they have made you feel special or appreciated, they can then ask for favors or make demands, knowing you'll be more likely to comply because of the emotional investment they foster. This is a form of emotional conditioning, where they tie positive feelings or self-worth to their approval, creating a dynamic where you are constantly seeking to please them or win their favor. Another form of emotional manipulation that often flies under the radar is the silent treatment. The manipulator may withdraw, shut down, or refuse to communicate as a way to punish or control you. By withholding affection, attention, or communication, they force you into a position where you feel desperate to restore the relationship or make amends, often giving in to their demands just to end the silence. The silent treatment is a passive-aggressive way of controlling someone's emotions and behavior, because it leaves the victim in a state of anxiety, uncertainty, and confusion. This tactic is especially powerful because it leaves the victim constantly wondering what they did wrong and how they can fix the situation, giving the manipulator the upper hand. Emotional manipulators are often experts at exploiting others' fears and insecurities. They might use your past experiences or vulnerabilities against you, whether it's your fear of rejection, abandonment, or failure. By playing on these fears, they can push you to act in ways that go against your best interests. They might say things like, "You'll never find anyone else who loves you like I do," or "If you don't do this, you'll lose me forever." These statements prey on your deepest fears, creating a sense of urgency or desperation that clouds your judgment and forces you to comply with their wishes. To all of these tactics, emotional manipulators often create a cycle of push-pull behavior, where they alternate between being warm and affectionate one moment and cold and distant the next. This inconsistency keeps you emotionally off balance and craving their approval. When you are on edge, constantly seeking reassurance or validation, it becomes much harder to see the manipulation for what it is, and much easier to fall into the trap of trying to please them or earn their affection. The most insidious part of emotional manipulation is that at times the manipulator may not even be aware of what they are doing. Many manipulators operate unconsciously, having learned these tactics as survival mechanisms from past experiences. They may not recognize the harm they are causing or the extent to which they are controlling others. However, whether intentional or not, the effect on the person being manipulated is the same: confusion, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion. Recognizing emotional manipulation is critical to protecting yourself and your well-being. It's essential to trust your own instincts and pay attention to the patterns of behavior that don't align with the words being spoken. Genuine people don't need to manipulate your emotions to get what they want. They are clear, direct, and respectful in their interactions. When you find yourself consistently questioning your own feelings, second-guessing your decisions, or feeling drained by a relationship, it may be time to step back and evaluate whether you are being manipulated. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, honesty, and the freedom to express yourself without fear of emotional retaliation. The mirror effect is a powerful psychological concept that describes how individuals often project their own emotions, values, and behaviors onto others, reflecting back what they themselves are feeling or experiencing. This can happen unconsciously or consciously, and it has a significant impact on how we interact with the world around us. At its core, the mirror effect speaks to the idea that we often see in others what is going on within ourselves, whether that is a positive or negative reflection. Understanding this concept can be a profound tool for self-awareness, as it allows us to examine how our perceptions of others are influenced by our inner worlds. When you encounter someone who is angry, frustrated, or judgmental, it may be easy to assume that they are projecting those feelings onto you. However, the mirror effect suggests that it is just as likely that your own unresolved emotions or biases are influencing how you perceive their behavior. If you're experiencing frustration or anger within yourself, you may interpret someone's neutral or even kind actions as being critical or dismissive, simply because those feelings are already active within you. In essence, you might be projecting your emotional state onto them without realizing it. This dynamic can be particularly visible in relationships, both personal and professional. In romantic relationships, for example, if one partner feels insecure or unworthy, they may start to see signs of disloyalty or neglect in their partner's behavior that aren't there. This projection can lead to unnecessary conflict and misunderstandings, because the individual is reflecting their own fears and insecurities onto their partner. Similarly, if someone feels abandoned or unsupported, they may start to perceive that others are indifferent or uncaring, even if that is not the case. The mirror effect distorts perception, creating a cycle where one person's inner turmoil shapes how they view and respond to the outside world, leading to miscommunications and emotional distance. On the flip side, when we are in a good emotional or mental state, we may project positivity, kindness, and understanding onto others. When you feel confident and secure in yourself, you are more likely to see others as capable, trustworthy, and kind. This is because you are resonating with those same qualities within yourself, and so you naturally perceive those traits in others. It's not that people are different in these situations, but rather that your internal state influences how you interpret their actions and intentions. The mirror effect also comes into play when we interact with people whose behavior mirrors our own. For example, if we are critical of others, we may start to see others as overly critical or judgmental as well. This happens because we are internalizing the judgment we project, and as a result, we tend to notice it more in others. Similarly, if we approach life with an open and accepting attitude, we are more likely to see those qualities in the people we meet. This mirror-like reflection can help us recognize that the qualities we criticize or admire in others are often reflections of our own traits, whether we are conscious of it or not. This phenomenon can also be seen in the way we mirror the behavior of those we interact with on a daily basis. Humans are natural imitators, and we tend to mirror the behavior of those around us, consciously or unconsciously. For example, when we spend time with someone who is optimistic and enthusiastic, we may find ourselves feeling uplifted, reflecting their positive energy. Conversely, if we are surrounded by negativity or pessimism, we may begin to mirror those attitudes as well. This is why the people we spend the most time with can significantly impact our mindset, attitudes, and behaviors. In leadership or workplace environments, the mirror effect can play a significant role in shaping team dynamics. If a leader is positive, supportive, and confident, those qualities are often reflected in the behaviors and attitudes of the team. A manager who displays trust in their employees can inspire a sense of autonomy and self-confidence in them. On the other hand, a leader who is critical, mistrustful, or disengaged can cause those same qualities to be reflected by their team, leading to a toxic environment marked by insecurity, low morale, or even disengagement. This dynamic shows how powerful the mirror effect can be, not only in personal relationships, but also in professional settings where team cohesion and motivation are key. The mirror effect also applies to how we perceive the world. When we are feeling defensive or judgmental, we may begin to see the world as a hostile or untrustworthy place. In contrast, when we feel at peace and centered within ourselves, we are more likely to see others and the world as inherently good, full of opportunity and potential. The way we look at the world often reflects how we feel about ourselves and the world inside our own minds. When our internal dialogue is filled with self-doubt, criticism, or fear, that is often the lens through which we see the actions of others. Conversely, when we are confident, grounded, and at peace, we tend to view others with more empathy and understanding, often assuming the best of their intentions. Understanding the mirror effect can be a powerful tool for personal growth and emotional healing. When we realize that we are often projecting our internal struggles, insecurities, or desires onto others, we can take a step back and reflect on why we feel the way we do. Instead of blaming others for their behavior, we can begin to examine our own emotions and beliefs that might be distorting our perceptions. This self-awareness allows us to become more conscious of how we are interpreting the actions of those around us, and it helps us respond with greater emotional intelligence. For example, if you find yourself consistently angry with others for being late, it might be worth reflecting on whether there is an underlying issue with your own sense of time, control, or patience. Maybe you are projecting your own frustration with punctuality onto others, or perhaps you have unresolved feelings about being overlooked or undervalued. By acknowledging this projection, you can address the underlying issue rather than continuously lashing out at others for something that may have little to do with them. The mirror effect is also a reminder that we are often the ones who shape the dynamics of our relationships and interactions. Our emotional state, our attitudes, and the way we choose to perceive others all contribute to the energy we bring into a situation. If we want to experience more positivity, understanding, and connection in our relationships, we must first cultivate those qualities within ourselves. The relationships we have with others are often a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves. If we approach the world with kindness, empathy, and an open mind, we are more likely to encounter those same qualities in others. Conversely, if we harbor resentment, anger, or insecurity, those negative feelings are often mirrored back to us by the people we encounter. The mirror effect teaches us that the way we view the world is often a reflection of our internal state. It encourages us to take responsibility for the emotions and perceptions we bring into our relationships, and it empowers us to make changes within ourselves if we wish to see a different kind of reflection from the world around us. By cultivating self-awareness and emotional intelligence, we can break the cycle of projection and begin to foster healthier, more authentic relationships based on mutual understanding and respect. The key is recognizing that we have the power to change how we see others by first changing how we see ourselves. Lack of accountability is a pervasive issue that can undermine personal growth, professional success, and the quality of relationships. It occurs when individuals, groups, or organizations fail to take responsibility for their actions, decisions, or behaviors, often resulting in a cycle of excuses, blame shifting, and broken trust. In its essence, accountability is about owning up to one's actions, acknowledging the impact they have on others, and being willing to face the consequences, whether positive or negative. When there is a lack of accountability, the opposite happens. People avoid responsibility, deflect blame, or simply ignore the repercussions of their actions. This lack of accountability can have serious, far-reaching consequences that affect not only the person who avoids responsibility, but also those around them. At its core, a lack of accountability is a form of denial. Instead of facing the reality of a situation or addressing the negative consequences of their behavior, individuals who lack accountability often engage in mental gymnastics to justify or rationalize their actions. They may blame external factors, such as other people, circumstances, or even bad luck for their mistakes or failures. This can lead to a pattern of defensiveness, where any attempt to address or correct a problem is met with resistance or hostility. Over time, this defensive behavior can erode trust, damage relationships, and prevent meaningful progress or growth. One of the most damaging effects of a lack of accountability is that it fosters a culture of irresponsibility. In the workplace, for example, when individuals fail to take responsibility for their actions, it can set a toxic precedent that encourages others to do the same. This can lead to a breakdown in teamwork, communication, and productivity. If people consistently avoid ownership of their work or deflect blame, others may feel compelled to do the same in order to protect themselves. This ultimately undermines the collective goals and success of the organization, as no one is willing to step up and take charge of their roles. The lack of accountability creates a cycle where no one is willing to own their mistakes, leading to unresolved issues, poor decision making, and a lack of accountability at all levels. In personal relationships, the absence of accountability can be equally destructive. Relationships, whether with family, friends, or romantic partners, are built on trust, mutual respect, and the willingness to own up to one's actions. When one person consistently avoids accountability, whether by blaming others, denying responsibility, or refusing to acknowledge their mistakes, it creates a sense of imbalance and undermines the foundation of the relationship. The other person may feel as though they are carrying the emotional or mental load, constantly trying to make up for the other person's lack of effort, commitment, or responsibility. This can lead to resentment, frustration, and even a breakdown in communication, as the person who is being constantly blamed or burdened may feel as though their feelings and concerns are invalidated. Over time, this can lead to emotional distance and even the end of the relationship, as one person feels unheard and unsupported. In some cases, people avoid accountability because of a fear of failure, rejection, or criticism. They may feel that owning up to a mistake or admitting fault will make them appear weak or incompetent, so they choose to avoid taking responsibility altogether. However, this fear-based behavior often does more harm than good. By refusing to acknowledge their role in a situation, they miss the opportunity for growth and self-improvement. Accountability is not about being perfect or never making mistakes. Rather, it is about being able to learn from those mistakes, make amends when necessary, and take corrective action to ensure that the same errors are not repeated. When we fail to take responsibility for our actions, we lose the opportunity to grow, learn, and evolve. In the long run, avoiding accountability keeps us stuck in the same patterns, perpetuating the same mistakes, and preventing us from achieving personal or professional growth. A lack of accountability can also contribute to a culture of entitlement. When individuals refuse to take responsibility for their actions, they may develop a sense of entitlement, where they believe that they should not be held accountable for their behavior or decisions. This sense of entitlement can manifest in a variety of ways, such as expecting others to clean up after them, fix their mistakes, or take the blame for their actions. People who lack accountability often feel that the world should bend to their needs or desires without having to face the consequences of their choices. This can lead to a sense of injustice, as those around them may feel that they are unfairly burdened with the fallout of someone else's actions. This type of mentality not only harms relationships but can also damage a person's reputation, as others begin to view them as irresponsible, selfish, or unreliable. Another aspect of a lack of accountability is how it stifles innovation and progress. In environments where people are afraid to take responsibility for their actions, there is often a reluctance to take risks, try new things, or push the boundaries of what is possible. Without accountability, there is little incentive to learn from mistakes or strive for improvement, as the fear of being blamed or judged keeps individuals from taking initiative. In such an environment, creativity and innovation are suppressed, and the potential for growth or change is significantly diminished. People become more focused on protecting themselves or avoiding consequences rather than actively contributing to the collective success of a team, organization, or community. A lack of accountability can lead to an overall decline in personal integrity. Integrity is the foundation of trust and respect, and it requires individuals to be honest, transparent, and responsible for their actions. When someone fails to take accountability for their mistakes, it compromises their integrity. They may begin to justify unethical behavior, lie to cover up their shortcomings, or make excuses for their lack of follow-through. Over time, this undermines their credibility and trustworthiness as others begin to notice the pattern of avoidance and deflection. Without accountability, personal integrity deteriorates, leading to a loss of respect from others and a weakened sense of self-respect. One of the key issues with a lack of accountability is that it breeds frustration and conflict. In situations where accountability is absent, it is easy for blame to shift onto others, creating misunderstandings, miscommunications, and heightened tensions. People become frustrated because they are unable to resolve the issue at hand, as no one is willing to step forward and admit their part in the situation. This inability to address the root cause of a problem leads to stagnation and discontent, both in personal relationships and professional settings. As a result, progress is slowed, and a sense of helplessness or resentment can take hold. The lack of accountability is ultimately a barrier to personal empowerment. When we take responsibility for our actions, we acknowledge that we have control over our choices and decisions. We accept that we are the architects of our own lives and that our behaviors have consequences. On the other hand, when we refuse to accept responsibility, we relinquish control over our own destiny. We give away our power by allowing external factors or other people to dictate the outcome of our lives. Accountability, in this sense, is empowering. It helps us to stay in control, make better decisions, and ultimately shape the lives we want to live. Without it, we are left at the mercy of circumstances, which can leave us feeling stuck, powerless, and disconnected from our true potential. The lack of accountability is a corrosive force that can damage relationships, hinder growth, and stunt progress. Whether in personal, professional, or organizational contexts, accountability is essential for building trust, fostering cooperation, and creating an environment where individuals are empowered to take ownership of their actions and decisions. Embracing accountability requires courage, humility, and self-awareness, but it is the only way to create an atmosphere where growth, learning, and success are possible. It is a key element in building a life of integrity, respect, and authenticity. Fake people often focus on appearances because they are more concerned with how they are perceived by others than with who they genuinely are or how they feel. This preoccupation with external presentation rather than internal authenticity is one of the defining characteristics of someone who is fake. In many cases, these individuals will go to great lengths to craft an image of themselves that aligns with social expectations or personal agendas rather than allowing their true selves to shine through. This obsession with appearances is not limited to physical traits, but extends to their behaviors, words, and interactions with others. One of the primary reasons fake people focus so heavily on appearances is that they are driven by a desire for approval, validation, or social status. They are often deeply insecure and use their outward persona as a shield to hide their vulnerabilities. The more they can project an image of success, popularity, or confidence, the more they believe they can earn the admiration and acceptance they crave. However, this superficial image often has little to do with their actual capabilities, values, or character. It's a mask designed to create the illusion of something they are not, often to manipulate the perception of others for personal gain. In a social or professional context, fake people may exaggerate their accomplishments, name drop, or even fabricate stories to appear more impressive or influential than they actually are. For example, they might embellish their job title or education history, trying to create an impression of success when, in reality, they may not have achieved much of what they claim. They may also align themselves with people of status, using their relationships to boost their own perceived value. In this way, their identity is shaped more by the people they know, the things they own, or the places they frequent than by who they truly are. They rely on these outward markers of success to bolster their fragile self-esteem, because deep down they do not feel secure or worthy without external validation. The focus on appearances can also manifest in the way they present themselves physically. Fake people may be obsessed with their looks or how they are dressed, constantly seeking to project a particular image of beauty, wealth, or social standing. They may spend excessive time and money on their appearance to ensure they fit within certain beauty standards or social expectations. However, this often comes at the expense of deeper personal qualities like emotional intelligence, authenticity, or kindness. These individuals may place little value on inner beauty or character, focusing instead on what others can see or what will make them appear more attractive in the eyes of society. The fear of being judged or rejected for their true selves often leads them to go to great lengths to create a picture-perfect outward image, even if it doesn't reflect who they really are inside. Fake people may also use appearances as a form of manipulation or control. By curating a specific image, they can influence how others see them and shape the way they are treated. This manipulation of perception allows them to gain favors, secure opportunities, or maintain influence over others. In relationships, for example, fake people may craft an image of themselves as the ideal partner, friend, or family member, all the while concealing their true motives or intentions. They might appear overly agreeable, charming, or empathetic to gain someone's trust, but beneath the surface they may be self-serving or opportunistic. Their charm is a tool, their kindness a facade, and their authenticity often non-existent. They may also engage in flattery or excessive praise to keep people around them in a state of admiration or dependency. This can create an imbalanced dynamic where the other person feels compelled to reciprocate, often unaware that they are being manipulated. The focus on appearances also reveals a lack of depth in the person's character. True depth and authenticity are not easily seen at a glance. They require time, introspection, and meaningful interactions. A person who is genuinely authentic doesn't feel the need to constantly manage or adjust their image to fit a specific narrative. They are comfortable being themselves, flaws and all, because they know their worth does not depend on how others perceive them. Fake people, on the other hand, are not comfortable with vulnerability or self-acceptance. They are more likely to hide behind a perfected image, because their sense of self-worth is fragile and dependent on external approval. The more they try to maintain a flawless outward appearance, the less room there is for self-exploration, growth, or real connection. This focus on appearances can also lead to a lack of genuine relationships. People who are only concerned with projecting a certain image often struggle to build meaningful, lasting connections. They might have many acquaintances or superficial friendships, but these relationships tend to be shallow and transactional. The people around them may admire the persona they've created, but rarely, if ever, do they get to know the real person behind the facade. This can lead to loneliness, as the fake person may feel disconnected from others, despite having a wide social circle. Deep, fulfilling relationships are built on honesty, vulnerability, and mutual understanding, things that are difficult to cultivate when one is constantly playing a role or trying to impress others. The obsession with appearances often causes fake people to become highly judgmental of others. Because they measure their own self-worth by external factors, they also tend to evaluate others based on similar superficial criteria. They may judge others on their looks, social status, or material possessions, rather than looking at deeper qualities like character, values, or kindness. This judgmental attitude can create a toxic environment where people feel pressured to conform to a particular standard, or where individuals are devalued based on things like their appearance or social position. The focus on appearances fosters division rather than unity, as people who feel judged or overlooked may withdraw or develop resentment toward those who prioritize external validation over personal connection. In many ways, fake people are trapped in a cycle of insecurity and superficiality. They constantly measure themselves against others and strive to maintain an image that they believe will make them more likable, successful, or accepted. Yet, this constant pressure to maintain a perfect facade only deepens their insecurity. The more they focus on appearances, the more they disconnect from their authentic selves and from others. It's a cycle that can only be broken by embracing authenticity and accepting that true value is not found in how others see us, but in who we truly are, flaws, imperfections, and all. In contrast, genuine people do not need to focus on appearances because they are secure in their identity and value. They don't feel the need to impress or manipulate others to gain approval. Their self-worth is not dependent on what others think, but on their own sense of integrity, authenticity, and purpose. When we focus on developing our inner qualities, empathy, kindness, honesty, resilience, we create a lasting impact that goes far beyond what others can see. In the end, real connection and fulfillment come not from maintaining an image, but from being true to ourselves and living authentically, without the need for validation or pretense. In conclusion, the pursuit of appearances, whether through manipulation, insecurity, or the constant desire to be seen in a certain way, only leads us further from our true selves and the authentic connections we seek. It is a cycle that drains us, distorts our relationships, and keeps us trapped in a facade that is ultimately unsustainable. But there is a different path, a path that leads to true peace and fulfillment, a path grounded in authenticity, humility, and love. When we look to the example of Jesus, we see a life that was defined not by outward appearances or societal expectations, but by a deep sense of inner truth, compassion, and grace. Jesus did not focus on impressing others or crafting an image of power and status. He focused on the condition of the heart, on loving others unconditionally, and on seeking to serve rather than to be served. His message was clear: man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. Jesus' life teaches us that true greatness is not found in how we are perceived by others, but in how we live with integrity, humility, and love. He encouraged us to love one another as he loved us, without condition, without pretense, and without the need for outward validation. In his eyes, it is not the polished exterior that counts, but the purity and sincerity of our hearts. In Matthew 23:12, he reminds us, whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. If we are to move beyond the trap of fake personas and superficial appearances, we must seek to follow Christ's example. We must strive to be authentic in our words, actions, and relationships, understanding that our true worth comes not from what we project, but from who we are in the eyes of God. In the end, when we focus on cultivating the qualities of love, kindness, truth, and humility, we are not only setting ourselves free from the pressures of maintaining a false image, but we are also making a lasting impact on the lives of those around us. Let us remember that the greatest measure of our lives is not the outward image we present to the world, but the heart that beats within us. When we align our lives with truth and love, we will no longer need to fake who we are, because we will be living in the fullness of who we were created to be.